It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games. Looking for music that lifts your spirit and fills your heart? Experience the powerful sound of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. Now streaming on all your favorite music platforms. Find the Tabernacle Choir on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Let the music of the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square inspire you today and every day. Whether you're at home, in the car, or on the go, enjoy the beauty of their world-renowned sound anytime. The Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, streaming now.
Final hour of the program, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You hear that song, you think one thing, the great Craig Bolerjack, who's kind enough to join us. Hey, there's no off-season for Bowler. Although, I got to imagine, Craig, it's a little weird when you hit this time of year and it's like, oh, I don't have to go to the Delta Center. I don't have to catch a plane. Yeah. I know you've been through this a lot, but it still probably is a little bit of a shock to the system.
Well, Scotty, with the Aggies football stops, then you kind of just transition in during that process during for basketball. But hey, when it's over, it's over. It's like a train ride, and they put the brakes on, and they just open the door, and you just kind of take your bag and just fall out or jump out, whichever it is. But it does feel the same every year. It's such a screeching halt. It's hard to explain of just an 82-game schedule with preseason and camp and everything that else that goes along with it, man. But it just takes a while just to kind of – what's the word I want to say? It's chaos during the season, but controlled. But, you just have to kind of put your feet back on the ground and just say, okay, take a breath, and, it's okay. I think you just have to tell yourself you don't have to do something right now because you're always in a hurry and on a schedule. It's always about schedules and time, and now you don't have to worry about that for a while.
You were calling the game for, I believe you were on the TV broadcast. I think they let you do that one when Kobe Bryant's last game.
Yeah.
How cool would it be if you also called LeBron James' last regular season game?
Well, it would be like a lottery, times two. I mean, Kobe's game was so special, 60.
Yeah.
It was well publicized. Scotty, Jack Nicholson sitting right alongside Harper and I that night, and he just was a comedy of just a show. He just put on a show himself, and that was really kind of fun. But, yeah, that was a special night. Confetti, I just kind of took that one in and, saved the card. Kobe actually came up that night. Didn't know him well. Matt knew him, and he just said, "Hey, you guys want to get a photo?" And I go, "What? Are you kidding me right now?"
There you go.
So I've got a photo, which I don't usually take a photo with athletes, but that one I thought, okay,
that one's okay.
I can do that. So I still have that card, my game card that night, filled up with just the confetti that fell from the ceiling. And then if LeBron is done, or if he's done in L.A., which, some say he could be, or he could hang it up. I don't think he will, Scotty. I just didn't get the feeling in L.A. On Sunday, but he played a half. He did his due diligence.
There you go.
And, I respected the fact that it was, the end of the season, and he went out and played and gave the fans a little taste. And now we'll see how they do in the postseason play. But it could be his last game in L.A. I'm not sure. I think he may want to have a year of farewell around the NBA. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what he decides.
Yeah, I could see LeBron wanting the old people forget. Remember the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar farewell tour?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Rocking chairs. I think the Jazz gave him a set of skis.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So if someone says I'm out of here, but you go on the farewell 82-game farewell tour. You get a chance to kind of tip your hat and then also receive a few gifts.
Oh, yeah.
Parting gifts along the way.
All right, so the season's over. It feels like the long tankathon has now come to an end because when you and Thurl get back on the mic coming up in September for the preseason, this is a team that's now going to be dead set on winning. How fired up are you for that?
It's something I haven't felt in a while. COVID was another time, Scotty, that derailed kind of that feeling of just, normalcy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we did about 100 games in the arena by ourselves, just calling it off the Jumbotron after, what went down in Oklahoma City. So we really haven't been in a normal situation, after COVID and Quinn's departure and the trades, that sent obviously Donovan to Cleveland and Rudy to Minnesota. So it's been in disarray for about a 5-year time frame. It's going to be fun just to prepare and sit in your seat and put the headset on thinking, hey, this is going to be a true, a real feeling of an NBA game where you have a chance to win on every night. If everybody stays healthy and how this, again, we don't know the entire roster, but I think everyone kind of knows on paper what the potential will be. At least that's the way I look at it. There'll be some pieces still, put in place during the off season. And then, of course, the draft lottery coming up on May 10th is going to be intriguing to see if, the lottery treats the Jazz with any luck at all. It really hasn't boded well for the Jazz since, 85, I think, when remember the Patrick Ewing frozen bent envelope tip controversy? That was about the first time that ever went down. So he went to New York. And then, of course, last year was a stunner with Dallas with a 1.8% chance, and they get Luka Doncic. But, Scotty, all things for a reason. I think Ace Bailey is developing right there. We see what he is and can be, and he still is going to take his games to different levels, and he's going to build his body out. So sometimes things work out for the better. Who knows? But it's an intriguing lineup if everything stays as is, especially up front with a very athletic, dominant front line that can do multiple things that will just give, just hell to defenses around the league. I don't know who you choose to try to stop or double, but someone's going to be open. And so you got to pick your poison on a given night, and it's going to be fun.
You think it's hard for a player like, let's say, for example, Lauri Markkanen, and Lauri's always out there busting his butt and wants to play well, but that deep down he knows that the team really wasn't overly interested in winning games over the last 2 or 3 years. And then all of a sudden you have to flip the switch. You're like, all right, let's go. You got to get this one. And you're like, well, wait a minute. That wasn't really that important over the last couple of years. I got to imagine it, and maybe I'm selling these guys short on their level of competitiveness, but I got to imagine there's a little bit of okay, I got to get my mind in a different place now.
Scotty, I think the last 3 years have had to be torture in some way. Look, they get it. They sit down with the front office and it's spelled out. And in a way, all of us, if you're at this level, how do you think you got there? By being uber competitive and obviously a great talent on top of that. But it's about how you compete, and that's what you're taught. And if anyone who's been in Little League, anyone who's played any lick of high school, any sports, being competitive, what's drilled into your head every day you're on the practice field after school? You guys want to win?
Yeah.
How many times did you hear that? If you don't want to win, then get off the field. I can't tell you how many times that was barked and echoed from, Little League on. Is it right? Well, look, those are different times, and mostly dads were coaching us, right? so, but that is built into your psyche. That's who you are, and that's how you get to this level. But so I would think it'd be incredibly difficult to try to continue to work out. Look, the money obviously is a motivator, but at the same time, I think the bottom line is when you get on the floor, the one thing you want to do is go out and kick tail and win. And that's what makes champions because they are better maybe mentally than others that may have talent, but you beat them on the mental side. So, I think, for Lowry and for Triple J and Keontae, who we know is competitive, they get it. So I think they just focused on the future, and it's such short term too, Scotty. Now, Markkanen had to go through it last year while Keontae was trying to, build his game and confidence and become who he is today. He had to go through some tough times, just mentally, physically to get there. But I think those guys have got to be just absolutely chomping this summer to continue the workouts, but to think ahead that what could be. If everything on paper kind of stands as is and the additions that most likely will come, the Jazz could be one of the biggest storylines in the NBA next year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Detroit turned it around very quickly. And, with Cade Cunningham and the Pistons and Bickerstaff was named the coach of the year today, I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a chance for Will to bust loose as well as a head coach instead of developing and you're seeing young guys make, steps, mini steps, big steps on a nightly basis. This is a chance for everybody in the organization to kind of just say blossom, let it go. And I'm excited for it. And I think and I guarantee I know the fan base, Jazz Nation, is very excited for what could be.
Craig Bolerjack joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You mentioned Ace Bailey, and everything in locker room cleanout was about Ace has got to get bigger. We got to get him bigger. We got to get him stronger. If he's able to add, 15, 20 pounds to that frame, and he's able to hold on to that athleticism and the skill set, Boler, we may be looking at a really special player.
Yeah, he's intriguing. Thurl, is he close to, we always kid him Bailey, is he, maybe he's his great uncle. I don't know. Somebody's going to have to do some research on that. But, he's intrigued with Ace himself just because I think he sees him in some ways built like T.
I can see that. I never thought about that. But, I think that's a good one.
When Thurl came in, I tell you, 190, maybe 200, but he would lose it. He melted, he said. He just burned calories day after day, and he just could not keep the weight on.
Yeah, me too.
If you remember, if you look, Scotty, I know, man. What's the deal? You're just an Adonis now. I mean, come on.
Yeah, stop it.
But T's an interesting convo about Ace because he told me 10,000 calories a day. And think about that. That's a load. I mean, that's a constant. You're at the table or consuming, whatever you can all the time to keep the weight on because he burned it off. And, he was down to 3 or 4% body fat. And you could see almost, every fiber of his muscle back in those days. But he's intrigued with his development just because he feels like he went through the same thing. And he and Ace have built a nice relationship just talking about what it was like to be a 7 pick. And now he was a 5 and, developing. Thurl obviously had an NCAA championship, and he was, a 4-year guy. And Ace comes out, and now he's all of 19. And I think that conversation's intriguing to me because here's a guy that can, obviously he's been through it, but I think the training staff is going to take hold of Ace and give him the best options to put the weight on correctly. There's a good way and a bad way. So. If you can put on 10, 15 and build the upper body, because what we saw was Sensabaugh this year and even Filipowski and a little bit of Cody in the second half of the season, if you can take that initial bump and find some space, because he's got a sweet mid-range jump shot too. It's all about just, being able to deliver and then square back up and hit a jump shot or, knock down that 3. But the physical part of that game, I'm excited to see him continue to go inside and just show off some of the skill set he's had, because we're watching him, Scotty. I mean, right before us, he's a 4-level player. Free throw shooter, good. 3-point ability, you bet. Corner, off, top of the break. He can shoot mid-range, and he's not bad, and he'll continue to get better at the free throw line. But, he's intriguing talent, man. He's got a lot. He's got a lot in his box for sure.
Oh, there's no doubt, and the future looks really, really good. All right, so what are you fired up about with the playoffs coming up? Is there, I've always had my guilty pleasures, and it used to be Oklahoma City, but now they've gotten good, and so now I got to go find somebody else too. A few years ago when Sacramento had the youngsters, they were fun to watch, but obviously that's gone a different direction now. Who is there a dark horse you're looking at right now, or do you just feel like it's do you think San Antonio's got the ability to come out of the West? Do you feel like Denver still has a little left in the tank, even though they haven't been great defensively? Can Detroit come out of the East? Obviously, they had a great record, but a lot of people are comparing them to the Jazz when they had the number 1 seed a few years ago and couldn't make it out of the second round. So there's a lot of storylines to this year's playoff.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Yeah, I love it. I think the fans ought to embrace it. You know, the play-ins have been intriguing. What do you got, 2 more tonight?
Yeah.
The Suns against the Warriors, and what is it in the East? Oh, Orlando and the Hornets. Orlando's always intrigued me with a young group of talent that is making, just steady improvement. Dark horse to win, no, but they could be an ups. If they make it past into the next round, the playoff round, then, you never know what happens in the first round of play, right? I mean, teams get knocked out like Cleveland last year. Are the Cavs in the mix in the East? I still say no, even though Donovan is a high-level player. I still don't think they have all the pieces. You make a great point about San Antonio, Wemby. I mean, the second half of the season, they came on strong, and he is an absolute incredible talent. Can he carry them? I'm not sure they're quite ready. Oklahoma City, to me, was the best team I saw all year long, Scotty. What's amazing to me is that you win a title like what Jordan and Pippen were able to do in Chicago, and they continue to stay focused, right? Chicago was such an incredibly talented team, well coached, and Dagnall and those guys seem to be still uber focused and not satisfied. And if you can keep the hunger and not have issues in the locker room, and I say that because every time they do an interview, and you've seen this, it's not just the one player, 6, 7 guys surround the individual that night and share the moment. That's kind of a college feel in some ways, but it's kind of fun to see it in the NBA at a professional level. Boston is healthy now. They've been there. I think in the East, you have to watch for them. Detroit could be totally in the mix, but again, it goes back to our conversation about what's it take to get to the next level. You have to experience it first, and then you're ready. Defense is still high level, as is Oklahoma City. So, if I had to pick in the East, Boston, Detroit, an outsider, and I think you mentioned Denver. Man, with Jokic and Jamal Murray, it's one of the most dominant 1-2 punches I've seen this year. They are on the same page. Not sure if they have enough bench to get it done, but I think OKC is still the favorite. I really do.
All right, one last question. And I'm going to give you my belief, and you can tell me I'm up in the night, that I'm wrong, and I'd be totally fine, because you could tell me to go to hell, and I'd ask you for directions, Buller. So, which has happened on this show, I might add.
I did. I did. We did.
Yes.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Oh, Lloyd doesn't let me forget. He plays that all the time.
Oh, I love it.
But, all right, so I love Cooper Flagg. I love his game. I think he's great. I think he's going to be a perennial all-star. I think he's going to win some championships. The trajectory he's on, I think, Hall of Fame, whatever. Like, this guy is going to be elite of the elite. But if I had a vote for Rookie of the Year, I'd be like, hey, look, Cooper, you're going to get all of the good stuff. I'm giving Con this one. Con's going to give this one because he's had the better season. Now, is he going to be the better player? No, not even close. It's going to be Cooper Flagg. But if we're looking at the Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go Con Knippel.
Scotty, it's a good debate. I like his game. Solid, quiet. I mean, kind of that quiet assassin. Got it done. He always was in the shadow of a guy,
Yeah.
And he played out of it. I mean, Cooper all the time, 24/7 at Duke. And then Con Knippel just kind of, just sneaks in and does hard work and does all the little things. I mean, he's solid. He's better than I ever thought he would make the transition into the NBA in his rookie campaign. Not sure how the writers will look at it. Knippel, I think is deserving, but I think Flagg's name and just the number one status will probably push it. Will it be dominant in the voting? No, I don't think so. But those two guys have, let's just say, they've lived up to the hype. And, had they stayed at Duke, they probably would have won a national championship this year. Maybe, maybe not. But, I mean, still, Duke got knocked out late on turnover and, a Hail Mary 3. But that was quite a game, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, those two were impressive. I really like Knippel's game, and he's going to be a steady, solid. He'll make an all-star team once, twice, three times, but the dominant player will be Cooper. And does he stay in Dallas? Yeah, I'm guessing. We'll see what Kyrie's status is and how they build, but I still think in the end it's just going to be He'll be a Cooper Flagg Rookie of the Year, but Knippel's right there in the mix too. But you know how the votes go, Scotty. You know, it's there's some politics there.
Oh, for sure.
And of course, there's popularity there, and then there's the way that Dallas will obviously offer, the mail outs and the to the writers who vote and try to push their player, just like the Jazz are trying to do with Ace Bailey to make it on the all-rookie team. And I think Ace ought to be top 5, personally. And I'm trying not to say that just because of, I see him 82 games out of the year, but I just love the way he's developed and grown. And, he was sick early, then he had the hamstring, but he stayed with it. And I like the fact that on an off night, which a lot of rookies have, he's able to focus and push forward. And that's the most impressive part for me, is that he doesn't let one game dictate the rest of the week. He just seems to move on, and that's a real gift, I think, at 19.
So Lloyd and I were talking before the show. We're trying to come up with new creative ideas that the Jazz can do to send a really cool representative to the NBA draft lottery. I will always say it should be you. I think Thurl's had a crack at it, right?
Yeah, Thurl had a crack, I believe. Yes, he did.
Ryan, Ashley. I mean, there's been a lot of people. I do not believe that we've had a Craig Bolerjack appearance of the draft lottery.
Wow.
This is the year that we need to have it happen.
Oh, dude. I mean, I'm flattered. All I need is a phone call, and off I go. But no. I you know what? They may. I don't know. Maybe they dig to the back. To what was maybe Jeff Hornacek.
That's not bad.
Some former player. How about Big Dog barking up there on the Big Dog Antoine Carr?
Show me the number one pick. Yeah.
Show me the number one pick, my friends. Oh man, that 97 year was fun. Show me the title. Those were good times. And hopefully we'll get back. The Jazz will get back there.
I was thinking maybe we could, I don't know, there's so many great representatives of the Utah Jazz that I think we can put up there. But you know what? I think it needs to be you. I'm just
maybe Bowler and a lemma with a little da sitting up there.
Da.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe they could send Will Hardy's team. He's going into his. What's crazy? Fifth year.
I know, that's
Will
nuts.
Hardy.
That's crazy.
And it's just been a blink of an eye, honestly, since Quinn made his departure, and they brought in a young 34-year-old at the time, which is hard to believe, man. But he's grown. He's got a great connection with players, and in this world we live in today, you've got to wear multiple hats to survive a locker room full of different personalities, especially as young as they are. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about Jerry Sloan, just the way that he ran his program, as Will likes to say. And you know what? Jerseys tucked in, same shoes, same socks. Everything was the same. You were a team, and you didn't have a chance to really express yourself, as much. And now you see every player with different colors of shoes. Cody wears, one black, one green, one yellow, one blue. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
I just wonder, Jerry would say, what's going on out there, But at the time, he was perfect. because he was a tough guy. He was a lunch pail guy. Come to work, let's play, and that's all he knew. But boy, has the NBA changed with the youth that has been infused into this league and just the different personalities. You have to wear so many hats to understand each guy's personality and how you approach them. And the staff, I give the Jazz a lot of credit. They've done a great job helping the young guys make the transition, and that's not easy. I think it's getting harder by the year because the younger they are and the money that's out there and the way they grow up in the AAU programs, you've got to have a great development program, and the Jazz, I think, have a really high level program right now, and that's a good thing.
Bowler, you're the best, man. Thanks for joining us, and let's keep it going for a little bit. I want to keep getting your thoughts on the NBA draft, the lottery, and I know that you are a miserable person when you have a lot of time on your hands, so I'm ready to help you out there.
If you buy me lunch, I'll drop by once in a while.
Done.
How's that?
Done.
All right.
You name the place. Lloyd's got.
Is that all it takes, Bowler?
Lloyd's got the P card, and we'll go nuts with that thing. The old we'll expense the heck out of it.
Maybe we just bring it into the studio one day. There we go.
Let's do it. Let's go.
All right.
Thanks, Bowler.
We'll do it. All right. Talk soon.
There he is, the great Craig Bolerjack.
Yeah.
Go to hell.
It never gets old.
Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.